Hey folks, welcome back to Hanbleceya Ranch. This video is going to be more about answering some questions that we got on a video we released a few weeks ago called Living on an Unmaintained Road. It seemed to resonate quite a bit with quite a few folks, and you guys asked some good questions, so I figured why not sit down and answer them. Well, I'm not really going to sit down, but I do want to answer these questions for you guys. We answered a lot of them in the video under your comments, but there were a lot of them, and some good, some not so good, some funny. I just finished putting up my pegboards, and I have a ton of these these hooks. I got that pile, I got this pile, I got a ton of them. So I'm kind of sorting through them, figure out exactly what I have. So while we have this conversation, I'm going to be working on pegs. Now the first set of comments I'm going to address, and I'm going to address it pretty quickly and then move on, is the fact that there were a lot of comments suggesting that folks from away should not come to Maine. Oh my gosh, some of the stuff that was said is just, I can't, it's unbelievable that some folks actually believe this. But I'm here to tell you, and I don't really care, you know, if I ruffle any feathers or whatnot in this video. I'm just telling you guys the way it is. In my experience and in Jen's experience with us being here in Maine, you know, we're going into this is our fourth winter. We have yet to meet anybody who has been a lifelong Mainer who has not been warm and welcoming. It's just the way it is. Now, I'll tell you what I have seen. I have seen folks who are from away who have this crazy mindset or crazy, you know, feeling that people from away should stay away. It's mind-blowing to me how hypocritical in some cases some people can be. If you're one of them, I'm sorry. You know, you should probably look in the mirror. You know, take a deep breath. I promise it's going to be okay. Most folks who move to Maine have no interest in changing Maine. There's a reason why we move here. Maine is an absolutely beautiful state. The people are wonderful. The land, the weather, everything about it is absolutely amazing. And when we were looking for a piece of property and we went to check all the boxes on what did we need in a property, Maine had it all. The sun was out a little while ago, but it's starting to snow. Now this snow here is not going to stick around. I am going to have to shut this door though, because the snow is starting to come in the shop. But we are expected to get 5 to 8 inches tonight. So we're going to wrap things up here after this, after we answer these questions. And later this afternoon, I've got to fill up our cabin with firewood, get the chickens prepped and ready, get all of our tools for snow removal ready, because tomorrow is going to be a pretty much an all-day snow removal event. All right, so like most videos that I do like this, I had to write some stuff down. I want to make sure I answered as many questions and really comments that people had made. I wanted to address some of them. So one of the big ones is, are our taxes different because we live on an unmaintained road? Well, no, they're not. We pay the same amount by percentage as anybody who lives on a maintained road. And, you know, knowing that, some folks then say, well, if we're living on an unmaintained road and the township is not maintaining it, then our taxes should be lower. The reality is that's not really how it works. You know, I think there are some groups out there working on trying to make some changes to that. It's really a difficult process. There's a lot of moving parts to how that works. In addition to that, realistically, you know, the taxes pay for other stuff for the town as well. And we do benefit from that. We may not benefit from the road maintenance side of it, but we do benefit from other sides. And I'll be honest, I personally don't mind paying my taxes. I'm not one of those people who will bitch and complain that we have a ton of taxes to pay, because frankly, it's part of living in America. We have taxes, we have to pay them. Do we think they're too high? Yeah, maybe, sure. There's no sense in me complaining about it, because it is what it is, and complaining ain't gonna do anything about it. So, all right, so can we change our unmaintained road status to a private road? I don't even know where I would begin with that. At least in our scenario with our road, and I'm just going to guess here, there might be 25 pieces of property on this road. I suspect if that were the case, then you'd have to at least get all of them on board to at least start the conversation. But I don't know if there's any laws or anything to prevent that from happening. I have no idea. What about creating an HOA? Same thing. You'd have to get everybody involved. Our road, and I suspect this is for a lot of roads here in Maine. It's the township considers it unmaintained and discontinued, and as such, they have also added it as a public easement, so anybody can use it, right? If you're going to privatize it, obviously, you could put a chain over it and prevent the public from coming in, but that's just simply not the case with our road. And honestly, I don't even know if that is a possibility or how we would go about it. Oh, this was a great one. So some folks, for some reason, thought that my video, that I was complaining in it. And to be frankly honest, I guess all I would say to those folks is, you obviously didn't watch the whole video. We weren't complaining or whining about anything. We were simply telling the way it is from our perspective of living on an unmaintained road and all of the activities that we have to do to keep our road open year round. In no way, shape, or form were we complaining about it. It is what it is, and we were just trying to showcase the reality of it. So as far as whining and crying and complaining and all that nonsense, I don't know what to tell you. Go back and watch it and maybe you'll learn something. We should be getting a grader. A grader would fix a lot of our pothole problems, because honestly, really grading a pothole is how you would, is one way to fix it permanently. I suppose if you're on a dirt road, or if you had a road that had enough surface gravel, you'd be able to grade it. And as a matter of fact, that's what they do on the maintained road. Section of our road is graded a couple times a year. In our situation with our road, there are only 2 spots, and they're small spots, maybe a couple 100 feet each, that have enough road surface gravel that we could even grade. I only know that because last summer I borrowed a box blade from a friend of mine, and I graded those 2 spots. But other than that, the rest of the road, the base layer or the underlayment of, from the road surface gravel is what we're driving on, and what's included in that are massive boulders. So there's no way to grade it without adding 6 inches of road gravel to it, so that when the grader could come through, or when my box, or when a box blade could come through, it would have enough gravel, enough of a layer of gravel that you could turn up and then level out and grade again. So it's a great idea. It's just not applicable on our road. What about trash and mail and things like that? Well, as it pertains to mail, at the end of the video, I was actually waiting for the mailman. So our mail does get delivered at the end of the maintained section. So we have to drive there and pick up our mail whenever we want to go get it. So as far as trash, we have to drive to the dump to throw away all of our trash. So we save it up, and once we have a nice pile, then we throw it in the bed of the truck, and we make a trip to town and go get rid of our trash. So a couple of folks had asked why we don't have a sander in the bed of the truck. Well, there's a couple of reasons. In the video, you saw me putting sand on the icy road by hand, and that's what we do. The reason I don't have a sander in my truck is, for one, it's a 1500 series and those sanders are heavy, and there's no way that my truck would hold a full-size sander. The other thing is, I did try a salt dog. And there's actually a video where I installed it and tried to use it on the road for this very purpose of spreading sand. It was an absolute failure. And just note that when you're dealing with sand, not salt, because we can't salt our road for a number of different reasons, but when we're trying to sand it, anything that funnels down isn't going to work. So what you really need is the long sanders that sit in the bed of a pickup or the back of a truck, and it actually has an auger that spins horizontally as opposed to the sand falling vertically. Do we have beavers that clog up our culverts? Well, the first few years we were here, we had some beaver issues. As a matter of fact, the first video that we put out when we first got here to the property, the road was flooded out because of a beaver. So yes, we do have beaver here in Maine. They can certainly be quite a problem. So I just had to make a break in the video. I was trying to film this whole thing in one shot. Obviously I've edited it, but the reason that I had to take a break was I got a phone call from Jen, and she is telling me that TikTok is going to get turned back on. So that's kind of cool. We do have a TikTok. Basically with our TikTok though, is I take shorts from YouTube and I post them over there. So if you're on TikTok and you see us over there, feel free to, I guess, follow us is what it is. Anywho, let's get back to the questions. All right, so this is one that just really tickled me. I got a kick out of this one. Folks are talking about just driving slower on our roads. Well, that's kind of the idea, and that's kind of the way you have to drive. Especially like in our road, you really can't drive fast. Driving slow definitely works with you're able to see the potholes and you're able to see the rocks and the bumps, and you can kind of navigate it through. But at the end of the day, no matter how slow you go, you are going to end up having more repairs on your vehicles. It's just a part of life living on an unmaintained road. As a matter of fact, 2 days ago, I had both of the lower ball joints and the sway bar linkage or sway bar boot needed to be replaced. Again, I did it last year. So that just goes to show that, no matter what kind of vehicles you have, no matter how slow you drive on some of these roads, not all of them, but some of them, be expected, to have a higher repair bill on your vehicles. I think that just goes for anybody who lives on an unmaintained road. And I'm sure folks are going to jump into the comments and support me on this one. There is a significant difference between driving on an unmaintained road and a road that's maintained, especially one that might be asphalt. So if we live so far off in the bush, where do we go for medical? Well, one of the prerequisites of us moving was that we needed to be within 30 minutes of a town because, let's face it, Jen and I are not getting any younger. And so we live about 30 minutes from a town that has, medical services, a hospital and doctors and things like that. As a matter of fact, we've had a couple of incidents on the property since we've been here. And thankfully, we had the forethought to make sure that we did live close to a hospital because, Jen had crushed her finger the first winter that we were here. And I unfortunately had gotten a hernia a couple of years ago. So, for you folks, when you're living or when you're looking for property, it is, especially if you're getting older, it's definitely something to keep in mind. Where are you going to go if something happens? Because something happening is a real concern. So shit happens. So be prepared for it. So another one with us living where we do, where do we buy our stuff from? Well, we have a Walmart. I've talked about this several times. I mean, not only do we have a Walmart, but we have local stores. We have local lumber stores. But one person had made a comment about the fact that, about the settlers didn't want to live here because it was economically bad. And the reality is you can buy shit online. I mean, there's nothing that I own that I couldn't buy online if I had if that's what I wanted to do. And so, between the town that we live near and Facebook Marketplace and being able to buy online, we have no issues with getting what we need. So another one was, do ATVs and snowmobilers bother us? We live at the end of the road. We do live at and Canada is the end of the road for us. It's not a through street by us. I suspect that folks who don't have this type of situation, I can certainly see how the public could annoy me. I mean, if we didn't live where we lived and we lived on a road where we lived in the middle of the road, similar situation to where we are now, and ATVers and snowmobilers were flying by all the time, I know with our dogs would go ape shit all the time. I mean, anytime somebody comes down here, we know well in advance because the dogs can hear it and they can sense it, and we have 3 Australian cattle dogs. They aren't quiet. and I know some of you folks have heard the dogs barking in our videos. It gets amplified when we have people down here. So yeah, I mean, if they do come around, I can, once in a while, we don't have a problem with that. I mean, it's a public easement. We understand that. But at the same time, I don't know. Maybe we would. But even if we did, that would be okay. It's not like we were going to do anything about it. It's, again, living on an unmaintained road, there are some sacrifices. There are some things that you're going to, give up and but what you gain, there are no words to describe it. As a matter of fact, I think Jennifer captures the beauty of it much better than I could ever describe it in her posts and in her photographs that she takes. This life is just wonderful, and living where we do, wouldn't trade it for anything. Now I think that's all I've got for questions that I wanted to address. The other thing I do want to just say is, living on an unmaintained road anywhere is going to be hard. It's going to be harder than living on a maintained road. You're going to be further away. You're going to have more maintenance issues with your vehicles. Life is going to be a little bit tougher, With us living off grid, we are responsible for our electricity, for our water, for our heat. We don't have the luxury of having services. And so, and we wanted it that way. You have to understand, that's what we wanted. I mean, this is the life we chose. And we're just trying to show it as honestly as we possibly can, because we know that there are folks all over this wonderful country of ours looking to do the same thing. Now, we have personally helped a whole slew of folks who are moving to Maine, and we truly enjoy having those conversations and talking about what it's been like for us. That's what our whole channel is showcasing, the life that Jennifer and I are having here. It is a beautiful life, but it is hard work. And anybody who decides to pursue this life, I am telling you from personal experience, be prepared for a challenge, because it is a challenging life. and you throw an unmaintained road into the mix, and ooh, holy smokes. Well, I've got to get back to work. I didn't do any work while we did this video, but that's okay. It is getting later in the afternoon, and we do have this storm coming tonight. I've got a ton of stuff I've got to get ready. If you have any other questions or comments, drop it all in the comment section below. We love interacting with you folks. And I will say also this, when we started our channel, we had made a commitment to answer every single comment that somebody left, whether it was good or bad. Well, unfortunately, it's getting a little difficult for us to do that. We do have a lot of new subscribers, a lot of new engagement, and we will continue to answer as many possible comments that we can. Just know that, we are doing the best we can. Just be patient with us. All right, folks. Well, that'll do it for this video. If you liked it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We'll see you folks on the next video.